Hi, I'm Jazz Obert, and welcome to my Talking Guitar podcast with JJ Cale. When I think of JJ, two words immediately come to mind: taste and tone. Without a trace of flash or gimmick, Cale consistently nailed the perfect lick. It was often blues-based, seemingly effortless, and cast in appealing tones. The heartbeat of JJ's art, though, was always his songwriting. Eric Clapton was certainly a fan, scoring massive hits with his remakes of After Midnight and Cocaine. Another must-hear is JJ's often covered Magnolia, one of the most beautiful songs of the 1970s. In his modest, self-effacing way, JJ referred to his songs as grooves with mumbling on top. JJ was never one to rush things, musically or in terms of his career. As he put it, "I've been semi-retired for most of my life." When we met up in a California motel room in March 1990 to do this interview for Guitar Player magazine, he was on tour supporting his first album in 6 years, Travel Log. A few days earlier, I'd seen JJ's show at the Catalyst in Santa Cruz, California, where he ambled on stage unannounced, strumming open-handed chords on a Roland guitar synthesizer. Throughout his set, I was struck by his extraordinary economy of motion. He plucked most of his solos with a relaxed right-hand finger, and by set's end, he hadn't even worked up a sweat. On the afternoon of our conversation, JJ was fighting a wicked cold, as you'll hear from his sniffling and coughing. Ever the trouper, though, he still gave an insightful interview. Here's that conversation.
Figured you shut that door.
No, that's all right. I must say, in this age of super processed albums, it's sure refreshing to hear something like what you've just done.
Yeah, it's kind of kind of live. I mess a lot with the synthesizers and stuff, but on this particular album, it's everything's just it's real drums and mistakes and The nice thing about the synthesizers is you can get it. You can get it perfected, but with musicians, it always has that human fault error, and I could think that's kind of interesting sound.
Yeah. So there wasn't much overdubbing going on.
There was on some things are all overdubbed. Some things are actually manufactured, and some things were just live with no overdubs at all.
One of the things that really struck me about seeing you play versus hearing you on the record is you really have a lot of economy in your hand movement.
Yeah. Well, I try to move it around more than I do, but that's going to end up that way.
What?
I kind of end up that way. I try to change it up. So I end up playing the same damn way.
Yeah. It works.
Yeah.
I notice you work a lot off of a basic E chord position.
I have them in this particular bunch of tunes I'm doing, yeah. And I even use a capo sometimes. Now, if I'm sitting around at home or if I'm making records or stuff like that, I change it up. But on the gig, yeah, I play a lot of E.
Now,
it's not really E, it's E chord position.
Right. I was really surprised to see you with a high-tech guitar.
Yeah, I've been using it. It's a Casio 360 PG. I started using it, I've had it about 2 years. I hadn't really put it on any recordings because most of those recordings were made before I bought the guitar. Yeah, I play acoustic guitar around the house. Sometimes I play acoustic guitar on the gigs. I've been experimenting around with this thing, and I got Kurzweil. I haven't been using it, and I'm MIDI into that, and I'm just trying to stay up with all that kind of stuff just for the heck of it. Yeah, it's a kind of Japanese Strat, and it's not a bad guitar.
What do you use the MIDI aspects for?
Well, I haven't been using them on the gig. I got a Kurzweil out in the truck, and I just, I maybe want to play some guitar, play some piano sounding things on the guitar, and and then anything a MIDI will do. Just like it's like using an effects device. Only it's not an effects device, it's a whole nother sound thing, And you can dial it in or dial it out if you want to. Like I said, I don't use it much on the gig because I got a full 5-piece band, 6-piece band, I don't need it.
Yeah.
But around the house, I hook all that stuff up. And the guitar just sounds huge. And all that stuff. It sounds like everything but a guitar.
Yeah. I was real surprised to see you with a whammy.
Yeah, well, that comes with it. You know, it comes with it. You can't hardly buy a new guitar nowadays, electric guitar without a whammy.
Yeah. Were you running a stereo setup on stage?
No, I was running the synthesizer. It's got a built-in synthesizer, and I was running the synthesizer through a little those little jazz courses, those little 2/8 jazz courses. I think it's the smallest jazz, rolling jazz chords. And then I run the guitar through the PV, so it really wasn't stereo. Like I said, I hardly use a synthesizer on the gig because I got a band. Now, if I play a lot of solo work, I use a synthesizer because it gives me a fuller sound.
Yeah.
But with a band, I already got a synthesizer player, so you don't really need it that much.
Yeah. One of the, I've seen hundreds of guys play, and you're the first person I've ever seen with the using your index finger to play solos coming over the top. Where's that from?
Well, I play an awful lot with my fingers nowadays, and kind of, orchestra style guitar. And when you get ready to play like a solo with the band, sometimes I use my thumb. I love Wes Montgomery.
Yeah.
He always just use his thumb, and sometimes his finger. And sometimes I'll do this. That's I used to play banjo,
Right.
Do that, and so sometimes I'll use his finger. A lot of using the index finger.
Now, earlier in your career, you seem to have played a lot more notes per song than you do now.
That's true. Maybe I'm getting older, slowing down.
Maybe you're editing your playing?
Yeah, you got to do that too. As you get older, you slow down. Oh, I've heard that.
I wanted to ask you about something on this tape here. Maybe you can hear it.
Where'd you get that at?
A guy in D.C. sent it to me.
What is it? Is that me?
Yeah. It's from an album called Leathercoated Minds.
Yeah, I produced that. I'm not doing any singing on it. I just got all my crony friends to sing on. This guy I was working with, I was an engineer producer, right? And he said it was during the psychedelic era. And he said, why don't you make an album with all drug titles? The songs were
really?
late 60s, right? And Acid was in, LSD.
Right.
There's 8 Miles High and Mr. Tambourine Man.
Sunshine Superman.
Sunshine Superman. So I, got all my crony friends come in and sing, and we only come up with 8 songs. And we wanted to do, an album of the pop songs of the day that were psychedelic oriented. And I only come up with 8 songs, so I needed 4 more, so I just made 4 instrumentals. And that's what that is.
Well, what's the name of that song?
I don't know. We sat down and it seemed like me and this old gal titled all 4 of them in about 5 minutes. It seemed like one was called Arriba. We're all Mexican titles.
Yeah. Well, this to me sounds like early Allman Brothers.
Yeah, no, that's before Allman Brothers.
I know. I'm wondering if you had any cross trails with those guys.
They might have heard some of that stuff through Pat. I was going with a little girl who was in Georgia.
She might have played it for him?
Yeah, that's some early stuff.
It sounds a lot like...
Yeah, that was 4-track days, and I just discovered the limiter. And I run your guitar through the limiter,
Right.
And, as you can tell, it's just all smashed, and you just hit it, and it's all limiter.
There's kind of a re-interest now in psychedelic music among kids, and you see psychedelic bands coming out. What were some of the classic psychedelic guitar sounds that...
Well, Jimi Hendrix is probably, he was the head psychedelic guy. I recorded a group called Blue Cheer. I think I cut the tracks on they recorded a song, it was old Eddie Cochran song.
Summertime Blues.
Summertime Blues, yeah. I cut the tracks on that, and then I had to go somewhere else. Somebody else finished it and mixed it. But they were an early kind of psychedelic band, and Jimmy had a lot. It seemed like there was a lot of psychedelic bands on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I noticed it more because I lived out here in the '60s. But
what were they doing to tones then that they're not doing now?
I don't know. It's there wasn't as many gimmicks now. I don't. I don't know, you know. I just think it was maybe kind of the way they thought more than is, you know, because I don't think everybody was running through a bunch of effects, and there were no effects, really. There was a few. But like I said, I discovered the limiter on that thing there, and there was no such thing as access to a limiter on the gig. MXR hadn't made their little limiter yet, right? And, but in the studio, you could kind of do that stuff. I don't know. I think it's kind of where the guitar players today. You know, each era has guitar. You know, people have there's a sound each era. You know, and what people think at that time. It was more the way the guys played than probably what they were doing.
Do you remember that as a good period?
Yeah, I like the '60s. Yeah, I didn't play as much of that kind of stuff there. The bands that I played in were, you know, I mainly played rhythm and blues. That stuff that you just played me, which is leaning towards the psychedelic thing, those kind of studio experimental thing. And that guy had asked me to do that kind of thing. We mainly played kind of stacks or that kind of stuff.
Huh. You obviously got a lot of fame through Clapton.
Oh, yeah.
I was wondering if you ever had a chance to play with him.
Yeah, I made some tapes or somewhere in my garage or something with him and I playing. We had a full band jamming up on some tunes I wrote, and I think I got some tapes somewhere.
Was this right after the songs came out, or
No,
years
this
later?
was since I moved back out here to California. It's the last 5-10 years.
Oh, I see. I'm curious why you have a second guitarist on tour.
Well, yeah, I've always carried a second guitarist. Bill Belvin played guitar with me for many, many years. He's a drummer, guitar player. And then he can't make it anymore, so Christine, I use Christine a lot. And it helps. It's fun to have another guitar. Got 2 drummers, got 2 guitars.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I noticed on stage sometimes you use the slide, and then sometimes you use your little finger tucked under your other fingers to sound like a slide.
Yeah, that's when I forget. You know, sometimes if you're on stage, you have to reach in your pocket and get the slide. So sometimes I'll just you know, fake it, but just kind of fake slide. You know, I'm just kind of run it up. It doesn't have that, you know, buzz that slide does, but I do that sometimes. Yeah, kind of slide imitations.
What about your glass slide? What kind is that? Heavy thing?
Just regular, you know, just regular glass slide. I've had that thing for just regular buying a music store slide. I've had that
Now,
for 5 years.
This doesn't cover all the strings.
No, it doesn't. I don't play an open tuning. I do play an open tuning at home.
Yeah.
On a gig, I just use one guitar, and so some of the things I may write and record it in open tuning, but on the gig, I don't want to shuffle the guitars and do all that. So I kind of have to try to imitate. You know, you can't get the same sound in regular tuning that you do in open tuning.
Right.
And so it's kind of a compromise a little bit. Yeah, I got some slides if you want to play the whole, if you tune your guitar to D tuning or D tuning. Yeah, that right there is just kind of for regular tuning. I just maybe want to hit a couple of strings. You know.
What's your playing at home sound like compared to what people who
I play a lot of synthesizer guitar at home.
Really?
Now I do. Noodling, you know, sit around and noodle, you know, watch the sun go up and down and sit around noodle.
Really?
I enjoy that playing, you know, because with the media out, it opens up this whole other thing. On the gigs, I kind of play kind of standard.
Some of the cuts on the album have sounds that sound like there's a band playing. Is that an actual band or synthesizers?
Yeah, some of the things are live. You know, I mean, we just walked in their first takes. There's 2 or 3 songs I'm running my bass on. And some of the things, like I said, I manufactured a couple of things. Just started with an electric drum machine and added bass. And some of them I'll sing and play the acoustic guitar and then maybe overdub some, you know, band sounding things on top of it.
Yeah.
And, try to keep the monotony in my own, out of my own. And then when I get through, it still all sounds the same.
Was Silvertone Records a nod towards the guitar?
No, you know, that's a gentleman over in England. I hadn't made any records the last 5 or 6 years. I was on one label, and I got off that label and said I'd kind of semi-retire and take a break for a while. And I had been making tapes all along, so I'd accumulated all these tapes. And this guy from England, Andrew Louder, asked me if I wanted to put out some tapes, and I said yeah. And he'd been working for a label, it's kind of a rap record label called Jive, and I think it's rap, I'm not sure. And he asked me if I, wanted to put out some of the tapes. And I said, yeah, I have a bunch, and that I've been making since the last time I put out a record. And he said, well, I'm starting a new label called Silvertone, and so that's how it's an English thing to come up with.
Because people associate you with that open back 12 harmony.
I used to play, Sears used to, matter of fact, it was down on Electro.
Right.
Who had they used to make a real nice amp. 212, I used to play 212, Silvertone amp. Everything come out with Sears had the name Silvertone on it.
Right.
It was made, made here, made whoever. So, yeah. And I'm sure Harmony made a bunch of guitars for Sears, and they took, the Harmony.
Right.
Harmony named off and up with Silvertone on. That was a trade name for Sears musical instruments and hi-fis.
What's your all-time favorite guitar setup?
Oh shoot! Now I like I said, I set up a couple of amps and played the synthesizer deal. I played my old Harmony through a 410 Bassman for many years. That had a pretty good swing, a wah-wah pedal.
What kind of Harmony is that?
It was an old $50 acoustic Harmony, and I was playing some gigs, and then and I jammed a pickup in it, and
that's the one on the cover of the magazine.
Yeah, right. That's an old one. And as the years went by, I kept adding pickups, and pretty soon I took the back off, and then the neck fell off, and I put a rod in the back. It was, every time I play, I'd have to put it all back together. The airlines actually, they pushed the neck way up into the body, and it got to where it was almost unplayable. Danny Farrington kind of put it back together for me, and I still got it. I just don't think I can load it. It's a real fragile guitar. It's fell apart. But it was originally a $50 acoustic guitar with one of those nano lipstick tip pickups.
Right, right.
And I got up one night to play him a guitar, and I'd wired it up myself, and the damn thing didn't work. So I thought, well, I'll put another pickup in this thing. So if this one don't work, I'll have a backup pickup. And then it got out of hand. I ended up with 4 or 5 pickups. So I took the back off of it, because it's feeding back. Pretty soon it turned into, look from the front, it kind of looked like acoustic guitar. It was really kind of, it wasn't a solid body, but it was just acoustic guitar with the back off of it.
Huh. Did you use a funky guitar for, say, the intro to No Time?
A lot of there's 3 or 4 things on that album. I've got an old Regal Dobro, and I put a Gibson pickup in it. And there's 3 or 4 things on there that's, I think No Time's that Dobro. I just put a pickup in this old Regal Dobro. It's a 30s model, and I just sawed a hole and take a pickup in it and run it through a PV amp. A lot of that's at Dobro. There's 4 or 5 cuts in here that's a Dobro. It's a wooden Dobro. It's not a metal Dobro.
Do you record that at a low volume?
Yeah, we pretty much play real soft in the studio.
Huh. What kind of guitar would you have used, say, for the more distorted sound in Hold On Baby?
The Hold On Baby, I've got a Steve Ripley's a friend of mine, and he made some prototype guitars that Kramer put out called Ripley Kramer.
They were stereo?
Yeah, right. It had Bartoloni pickups in them and built-in fuzz tone on them. That particular song was recorded with that. That's a Ripley Kramer. He gave him one, and I played it for a couple of years before I started playing the synthesizer guitar. And that's a Ripley Kramer just directly into the board, and it's got a built-in. He calls it hex fuzz. He says it's different than the regular, stomp box kind of fuzz. And it has a little different sound. The nice thing about that particular pickup, that particular guitar, you can go directly in the board and kind of get an amplifier sound, like a speaker.
Yeah.
And it's called a Ripley Kramer. Steve Ripley's one of his inventions.
What's the banjo sound on Shanghai?
I don't know. That's Chris and I playing the guitar. There's no banjo on it.
Really?
That might be. I think I might have been playing that dobro on that. No, there's no banjo on it. It's either Chris or I playing the band. I'd have to listen to it to tell you. There was a big orchestra on that. That's pretty much live.
Huh. In Hold On Baby, the beginning of that solo, is that all left-hand stuff without picking, or?
Yeah, that's a Ripley Kramer directly into the board. It's really, you can hammer on. If you just lay, the hammer on deal that everybody does now.
Right.
The heavy metal guys, everybody. That's what that is. Yeah, that's that Ripley Kramer. It's really a nice guitar for that kind of stuff. And then with that distortion on it, it makes it just right. I think I put some echo. I just plugged in the tape recorder direct and put that solo on.
How long have you been doing the tapping on the fingerboard?
Since I first heard somebody doing it. you know. It seemed like we used to do it back in the old days accidentally, and, you know, and then it's now become a style, right? And
Right.
you'd accidentally kind of play that, you know. I think Eddie Van Halen's probably the lead to me.
Yeah, yeah.
He's the one that introduced it to a lot of the younger generation, I guess.
What's the origin? Where did you get into the kind of style that we hear in Lady Luck? The jazz, West End swing?
I've always been, you know, when I got to be about 22, 23, I've always playing rock and roll, and I, you know, wanted to start, you know, learning some other kind of music, started getting into jazz, listening to jazz, you know, jazz of the era. And I'm a big fan of Mose Allison, it's kind of Mose Allison kind of thing. I've always liked, you know, jazz is kind of a player's music, you know. So every once in a while, I like to sit down and try to write something in that vein, and then try to, you know, see if I can pull it off. I'm not very good at it, but it's kind of an attempt. It's not jazz; it's really kind of cocktail jazz, I guess. But yeah, kind of brushes, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's music from another era, really.
It sure is. Do you play piano like Mose at all?
No.
I mean, in that style?
No, yeah, no. The most I've ever done on piano is write, you know, just, you know, plunk around chords trying to write a song. But, you know, he actually plays. He's amazing piano player.
I've read in an old interview that you tend to write from a groove more than from a song idea.
I do. I'm not a poet. You know, that was kind of always what I always liked, was I kind of mumble off. I've written a lot of songs that were just kind of grooves with some mumbling on top, and I kind of consider my voice just an instrument that, you know, a lot of songs I wrote are not really, I've written are not really songs. They are grooves with some, I call it mumbling on top, you know. And some of them worked out as songs, most of them didn't, you know.
Yeah.
But that was kind of, I always liked the, you know, thing you tap your toe to or whatever.
Were you ever one to belt out a song?
I have done that before. It's real rare, you know.
Huh.
It's been a long time. Yeah, I don't. Maybe every once in a while I do, but
Well, one of the
mainly more of a laid-back approach, I guess.
But one of the interesting things is that by sort of whispering, you more or less force people to lean into it and get closer to the music. It does give more of an intimacy.
I have you know, my vocal talents are pretty slim, and so it just kind of comes out that way. Sometimes I wished I could do something else, but that's what it is I do. That's all I can do, actually.
What did Hold On Baby start with?
That's me and Tim Drummond and Roger Tarkson playing drums, and we recorded that over in Van Nuys, and we went in and it was just an instrumental. I had some words. It actually wasn't. I didn't cut the track and write some words to it. I did that a lot. I actually had some words, and we just cut the guitar, bass, and drums instrumentally. And then I think I put a couple of vocals on, and the guy mixed that. It was just rhythm, guitar, bass, and drums, and 2 vocals. And then I've got an 8-track, and I transferred that 2-track that he mixed down from 24 to, and I think at home, I think I put the guitar solo on. That organ on there is the synthesizer guitar. I put that on, and that solo, and I think I added one more voice, and that's what it was. That was a process I did. Cut the tracks first.
Did you cut tracks in before you even have any words at all?
Some songs I make up after midnight was. I'd cut the tracks and wrote the lyrics to it afterwards.
Really?
And after midnight, those things you played there, that Trip Down Sunset Strip album.
Right.
I cut 10 instrumentals. That's 4 instrumentals off that. After midnight was one of that bunch that was that I didn't put on that album, and I later wrote words to. Come from that era, that original demo that I did.
How did you write Magnolia?
Oh, that was just acoustic guitar and singing, and yeah, that's the old traditional standard way. That was, you know, and then I just went in and said, here's a song I wrote, and the guys all played with me. It was exactly like it sounds. It's, you know, there's just acoustic guitar and me singing, and we just cut it, and the guys played, and that was it.
I owe you a lot of personal thanks for that song, because it's gotten me close to a lot of girls.
Yeah, girls love that. If I go play a gig and I don't do that song, there'll always be 2 or 3 ladies that'll come up and want to punch me out because I didn't do that song.
Do you have a preference for acoustic versus electric?
Yeah, I like acoustic guitar. It's a whole nother animal, you know. It's you know, it's electric guitar's one thing, acoustic guitar's another. Depends on the music I'm playing, the mood I'm in, you know, and if there's no amplifier around, you know, and I got a couple old Martins and a couple of Ovations, and yeah, I really like the acoustic guitar. It's like I said, I have no preference. You know. Acoustic guitar's a little rough with the band.
Do you tune them always tune standard?
Yeah, unless I'm gonna. I think every once in a while I'll tune maybe slack key or open G or open B, but I'm mainly 95% of everything I do is just regular tuning.
Where's the Tijuana picking come from?
Well, I've always been a, I listen to flamenco guitar, and I've always wanted to do that, and it's kind of, flamencoid, I guess is what it might be. That's my attempt to, because the subject matter is song, I've tried to do that. And, it's my attempt to play some Spanish.
Now, when you cut New Orleans, was that with a real orchestra?
That's all, yeah, and that's all kind of live, yeah.
When was that done?
That was done, that was about 84. That's, all them guys are all in the studio, and I'm not overdub the guitar solo. I think the vocals live on that.
Huh. One of the real interesting songs for me was End of the Line, which sounds like it was recorded informally.
It was. That's live. We didn't even get around putting bass on that. That's just Chris and I playing the guitar, and Jim Keltner playing the drums, and no, that's Jimmy Karstein playing drums and Jim Keltner playing organ.
Jimmy Carson?
Jimmy Karstein. He's been playing drums with me for 20 years.
That has a real smoky, late at night feel.
Yeah, that was the first take. I think I had to tune. I said, let's just do this one, and I think that's the first take. We didn't even add bass to it.
Huh.
And we just recorded it, and it's what it was. Live in the studio. It was all Capitol Hollywood.
On Who's Talking? Is there two guitar players on that track?
No, that's me overdubbing.
You
overdubbing? The
overdubbing?
same band is on. That's the same two guys, Tim Drummond and Roger Tartan's on, and that's got a lot of overdubbing on it.
What's the appeal of working with Drummond?
Oh, he's fun,
Yeah.
and I know him, and he's, and I say, hey, let's go make some demos, and, we'll go and jam it up, and he's a real good idea, man, real good bass player.
Huh.
And, he's fun, and
You've had the same drummer for a very long time, too, right?
yeah, well, I use the same, like the guy playing percussion at Santa Cruz you saw the other night as a drummer, and this play with me, Jim Cruz is playing now, and Karsten's playing percussion. They switch off. On records, I've changed it around. It's Jim Keltner playing drums on a lot of that stuff.
Right.
Karsten's playing drums on a lot of it. And Roger Tartan's playing drums on 2-3 cuts. So there's actually 3 drummers. And Jay Mittenauer's playing on Lady Luck.
Where did you play bass?
I think I overdubbed bass on Humdinger.
Humdinger? That's got some cool old style blues slide on it.
Yeah, that's I sang that and played that at the same time. That's open tuning.
Uh-huh.
That's open tuning. That's one of the few. In fact, that's the only record I've ever cut in open tuning. That's a Martin tune to an open. I think slack key tuning, and I got an old D-arm pickup in the Martin. I just run it in that. And I'm singing and playing that, and I just turned the beatbox on, and that's and then I overdubbed Jim Keltner and overdubbed bass.
Huh.
I think I cut that in my trailer.
Huh. Are you a fan of any old blues musicians?
Oh yeah, I like all Robert Johnson and Lightning Hopkins, all those guys. I love that stuff.
Lightning can't go wrong.
Yeah, so I can get that stuff out. It just puts me back to there, which is a time before I was born. Those guys were popular in the 30s.
Yeah.
That's actually when country blues was popular.
Do you have much of a tape or album collection?
Yeah, I have from time to time. I've moved around so much. I live in Tennessee, live in Oklahoma, live in California. And when you move and life changes and stuff, I've lost a lot of them, And boy, I wish I had all those old things. What's nice, record companies are starting to release a lot of the old stuff again in CD form.
Right.
And in my moves and travels and life itself, I've lost a lot of my collection. At one time I had a pretty good collection, and I don't have as many now.
Huh. Are there any tapes you always keep around no matter what?
I like anything but Clarence K. Melton Brown.
He's a great guy.
Jimmy Johnson, real well. Jimmy Johnson, I think, just had it. It was in just a wreck. You know what I'm talking about?
Jimmy Johnson, the blues player, or the
Yeah, right.
Muscle
Right.
Shoals?
No,
He was in a
blues
wreck.
player. I know. Yeah, that's what somebody told me. Now, hey, don't quote me on that. I don't know for sure.
You know, it's funny. I interviewed Jimmy twice on the phone, and I always loved him. I thought he was a real great guy, sang like a preacher and all that.
Yeah.
And I met him finally at the San Francisco Blues Festival, and he
Really?
was the meanest guy I've ever met.
Really?
Man, he's like a porcupine. I was
Really?
shocked. I did not expect it.
You thought this would be a nice guy?
He was like, "Go away, kid," you know.
Yeah, I like him. Clarence Gate Mountain Brown, you know, Billy Butler, you know, and it all depends on the mood, man, you know. I
Gabe Mouth.
put on wallpaper music sometimes, you know.
Gabe Mouth is a hell of a violin player.
Yeah, I've been a fan of Gate Mouth's. I've, you know, finally met him and got to know him many years ago, but before that, I always been a fan of Clarence Gate Mountain Brown's for blues guitar.
He's down in Baton Rouge now, right?
I don't know, but I
Slidell, Louisiana. That's where it is. Louisiana seems to be a recurring theme in some of your songs.
Yeah, I'd go down and play in Louisiana in the 70s. A lot of people down there thought I was from down there. No, I'm not from down there. I'm from Oklahoma. But, yeah, I don't know why my music leans towards Louisiana bag, but it does.
Yeah.
I've had people from Louisiana tell me that.
One of the other things I noticed the other night that was unusual is during a song like Cocaine, you did all your bends with any of three fingers without backing it up with any other fingers.
Yeah. I'm just doing like that. Yeah, I do that. I'm using pretty light gauge strings, or you wouldn't be able to do that. If I had heavier gauge strings, I'd probably have to put 2 or 3 fingers behind it. But I'm using pretty light gauge strings on the guitar that I'm playing.
Have you ever had lessons from anyone?
Not really. No, I just kind of, you know, picked it up off of records and watching other musicians and listening and, you know, trying to imitate other people, and I never could exactly sound like them. And, you know, that's where you kind of get your own thing.
If you could go back in time and meet any musician or sit in with anybody, who are the people that you'd like to?
Oh, I'd like to really hear Django Reinhardt play, you know, Charlie Christian, all those guys before my time, you know. Actually hear him play other than the old recordings. His influences around there, I think he lived around Oklahoma City. So he died, I think, 1942, 41. And Bob Wills was real popular in Oklahoma. He was a Texas Western swing band kind of a guy. And a lot of the older guitar players, when I was a kid, kind of, you know, played bebop leanings. And so you heard that, you know, that influence through a lot of the players around in that era and that time. He was already gone, but his influence, you know, he influenced a lot of people in that era, probably, you know, stuff.
Sure did. He's a great musician. Do you still have a pretty large guitar collection?
Yeah. I've quit buying them now for a long time there. I go to the music store and buy 2 or 3 guitars, and I've kind of don't have that Jones as much as I used to, but I still almost have. I give a lot of guitars away. But I still have quite a few. I've got some old Martins and old Gibsons and old Fenders. You know, I love old American guitars.
Do you have an effects collection?
Yeah, I've got a little studio too. I've got an old 16 track and an old, you know, I call it state-of-the-art studio, about 1972. And I don't take it out on the road, but it's all studio gear, you know, like the kind of stuff that's in studios. I collect mics. Stuff from yesteryear, electronic gear. Like I said, I made my living as an engineer for a long time. So I kind of got into not only collecting guitars, but collecting old audio gear. Like I said, I don't do that much anymore for a long time. I had about a 10-year span there that I really got into the collecting.
Are you excited about any new technology?
Yeah, I like the digital technology. I can hear the difference in that and the analog. Hello. Yeah. Oh, pretty good. How are you doing? Oh, yeah, where are you at? Let me call you. Stay there about 10 minutes. Let me call you back. All right. What was I saying?
Collecting effects and stuff.
Yeah, effects and stuff, and it's mostly studio. You know, it seemed like when MXR come out, I used to use a couple of those in the studio, but about the only thing I ever use out on the gig. I mainly just run my guitar directly into an amp. I use a wah-wah pedal quite a bit and still do. I'm not now, but that's the only effects. Yeah, an old I got one of them old box, wah-wah pedals, yeah, crowd. And I'm not even using that, because the time I get up and plug my guitar in and do all the stuff, it's more trouble.
You recently got a house and moved out of the trailer?
Yeah, I'm not living in. I lived in trailers off and on for the last 15 years. I bought a house. Lived in Tennessee for a while, and then I got tired of that and moved down here to California. Decided I'd live in a trailer, and I've been living in a trailer for the last 10 years. And I just bought me a house from down around San Diego, about a year ago, and that's been a new trip for me.
Out in the country?
Yeah, I'm going. I've got a couple 3 acres.
That's nice.
I get out and roam around the yard and try to grow grass in the desert.
Yeah.
It's kind of a new thing for me.
I was wondering if I could ask you to sign a couple of pictures. These are, some of them are going to be a little...
That one's no one.
Blast from the past.
Yeah, it's definitely
A fellow in Washington, D.C. Asked me to ask you if you wanted a high-quality video of a concert you did there in '85 with the board mix dubbed onto it.
Yeah, that might be interesting.
Okay. He said he'd talk to you at the show. He's a guy that put together the Clapton anthology.
Oh, really? He had some. How's your career going before my eyes?
Yeah.
I've been doing it a while, haven't I?
At least you followed your own vision, you know?
Yeah,
You
that's
are a man.
hard to do in the music business, I'll tell you. It's they really try to change your whole deal.
You just refuse to yield to the pressure? Or?
I've compromised some, man. It's all been compromised, but I think it's maybe dry now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't ever have it all your own way. But I've tried to keep reality in it and not get too screwed up, and I'm trying not to get too famous, so I'd be uncomfortable and still have a good time. I love to play the guitar, so that's real. And in show business, it's not. And I'm trying to play the guitar and not be in show business. It was kind of a little rough. The people who were trying to sell my act, it was a little hard for them because they wanted me to be more out front, higher profile, and that kind of stuff. So that kind of go, oh no, let's skip that or skip this. And so, like I said, it is a compromise. But I've kind of maintained. I'm still doing it.
You seem pretty happy at it.
Yeah, I enjoy all this I'm doing.
Great.
I'm still having fun.
JJ went on to record another half dozen solo albums. In 2008, his collaboration with Eric Clapton, called The Road to Escondido, won a Grammy Award. JJ passed away in July 2013. Before signing off, I want to thank the Southern Folklife Collection and my friend and podcast producer, Nick Hunt. I encourage you to look around and check out some of our other videos in the Talking Guitar page of YouTube, and I hope to see you again soon. This podcast is copyright 2025 by Jazz Obrecht, all rights reserved. Thank you for listening and hope to see you next time.